Okay, folks, just a few housekeeping items before Syracuse comes in. Just a reminder, please, that there's no recording this press conference. If you need footage from this, please see our friends from Hammond, and they will get you set up. Also, no flash photography in here, and we ask that you silence your cell phones or any other mobile devices. Please get to our 2 mic holders. If you have questions, please identify yourself and the outlet, and please direct your question to someone sitting on the dais. We are going to open with an opening statement from Coach Boeheim and then go to questions for the players. Once those questions have been exhausted, we'll open the floor back up to questions for Coach. But we want to get the players back to the open locker room so that you have more opportunities to get there. Today's transcripts can, as always, be found at ncaa.com/transcripts. All right, congratulations, Coach. We'll open with an opening statement from you.
You know, our defense has been good in this tournament all the way. It's been obviously the key for us. You know, we wanted to get to their shooters, and we did a great job of that. You know, they made 2 bank shots, threes, and, you know, we're still able to persevere. This team perseveres through no matter what happens. End of the first half, that's an impossible shot. Then they bank one. The second half, I think they start out with three or four threes in a row almost in the second half. And these guys just keep going. They keep battling. Frank fouls out. Doesn't faze them. They just keep going. And Tyus, he made the plays. You know, with Frank out, he's going to have the ball, and we're going to go with what he can do. And he made all the big plays in the second half. Frank made some before he fouled out. But, yeah, it was a great effort. I'm really, it is very tough to play 3 games in 5 days at this level against the physicality. You know, we knew they were going to get us on the boards. They really got us on the boards. But these guys just battled the whole game. I'm very proud of them.
Okay, as I said, we'll open the floor to questions for the players, please. Right here.
You guys kind of counteract that. I know they beat you on the boards, but you still didn't keep them. You kept them from scoring inside.
Yeah, I think either way, we still had a little size advantage on the perimeter. You know, with me, Tyus, and O'Shea and Miles are probably the same size. But you know, I think we just battled. You know, we just kept battling. You know, we knew they were going to punch in inside a lot, and you know. I think in some instances that kind of helped us a little bit, but you know, it's just a fight, man. You know, I think we just fought down the stretch. and we came up when we needed to.
Over here.
Jason Garland, 10 Sports. Tyus, going 8 for 8 in the second half of free throws. How were you able to keep your composure, not in front of a very heavy Michigan State crowd, but in such a big game?
I usually don't worry about the crowds and stuff like that. We play in front of big crowds all the time, all throughout the year, so the crowds today didn't bother me at all.
Down in front here.
Tomer Langer, Daily Orange. Frank, all year, one of your strengths has been kind of rebounding from that guard spot and coming back down. How do you try and balance that when you know you're getting beat on the boards down low, but they're calling those fouls on you a few times in a row throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, you know. Try to stick my nose in there a few times, you know, grab a few. Calls didn't go my way, but, you know, the guys picked me up. The bigs, you know, they fought hard. Braden came in, stuck his nose in there, got a big rebound. So, you know, kudos to my teammates. You know, they picked me up. A few of those, you know, I think it went our way, but, you know, it didn't. So we came out to win.
In the back.
Valenth Gupta, applying for Sports Illustrated for Kids. Yesterday, you guys had a lot of confidence. Coming into this game, you kept fighting. Can you tell me about that?
I mean, we every time we step on the floor, we don't care who's on the floor with us. We're expecting to win the game. So we have supreme confidence. I have supreme confidence in my teammates. Everyone steps up. Braden came in, hasn't played much the entire year, stepped up and played some great defense. And it's just the heart of this team. It's amazing. It's amazing.
In the back.
Raymond Rolak, Detroit. Tyus, talk about how much coach stresses defense, because you had it was all D tonight.
For us, it's defense every night. We know we're a defensive-minded team, and we're only going to win games as long as our defense is moving. And we're moving, we're talking, and just making it tough on the opposing team to get up threes and stuff like that.
Evan Meyer, Mac Report Online. Frank, I believe you're the only player on this team that went 2 years ago to the Final Four before losing to North Carolina. Has the rest of the team drew on your experience of being there through these 3 games against Arizona State, TCU, and now Michigan State?
I mean, off the court, you know, I try to let them experience it themselves. It's a special time of the year. You know, it's what we all come to college for. So, you know, I try to let the young guys get their own experience. But, you know, on the court, I just try to lead as much as I can. Try to, you know, I'm a little hoarse right now, but, you know, try to lead with my voice, you know, lead by example. And, you know, the guys are doing a great job following up and, you know, taking initiative themselves. So, you know, we got a lot of fighters, you know, and a lot of talent. So, you know, with that combination, I think, you know, we can come up with some wins.
For either Frank or Tyus, Jeff Less with Entercom. After Miles Bridges hit that thunderous dunk, MSU seemed to be threatening to pull away at that point. Crowd's really into it. What changed for you guys after that totally changed the complexion of the game?
To be honest, nothing. I think Coach always stresses I'm not giving him that one. But yeah, the timeout, you know, Coach always stresses next play. So, you know, whatever happens on one end, we try to go down on the next end and try to get something good or, you know, hit a timeout and get ourselves together. But, you know, Coach has been stressing poise all year. So that's what we try to do, just stay poised.
In the back.
This question is for Tyus or Frank. It's obviously been a tough tough week for you guys, winning 3 games in 5 days. Just kind of put into perspective what this win means to either one of you.
It means a lot for us. I mean, we've just been fighting the entire year, and we're constantly trying to prove ourselves in this tournament. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job with that so far. They're a very good Michigan State team, well coached, very good players. And to come out here and it's practically a home court advantage and come out with a win is pretty impressive.
Chris Carlson from Syracuse.com. Frank, Jim mentioned yesterday that you couldn't take just 1 or 2 guys away from Michigan State. You had to take away everybody. Was there any particular focus on defense that led you guys to the job you did?
We just wanted to try to keep the ball out of the high post and, you know, keep the ball out the paint. You know, they did a great job of finding open spots and, having guys in and out. But I think our activity level and our length up top is it's tough for people. So when we can be big and clog those passing lanes, I think we can be successful.
We'll take one last question for the players if there is one. Okay, we'll release them back to their locker room. Gentlemen, congratulations. Good luck going forward. We'll now open the floor to questions for Coach.
Coach Bam, Jeff Lesson with Entercom. Overall game plan heading into this. We know you're a great defensive-oriented team. Were there any 1, 2, or 3 players you specifically
Yeah, we
designed your
didn't
game
want
plan for?
Nairn, or we didn't want Langford and McQuaid to shoot the ball. We tried to get on them. When you get on a guy from the beginning, when they do finally get a shot later, then they're not ready. So I thought we did a good job of getting on them. I've never won a game when a team made bank 2 threes against us. It would have been bad to be sitting up here if we lost by 1 and say we lost because we were unlucky. The first bank was the hardest and luckiest bank I've ever seen in my life. Second one was just a bank. But, they made 8 for 37, and they banked 2 shots from the 3. So we did a good job covering those 2 guys. We try to keep it out of the high. It's hard to keep it out of the high post. We tried. They didn't. We know that people go there, and we react to that, to the shooters, so they can't get it out. We try to force that guy to do something there, and a couple guys they had in there were trying to throw it out when it wasn't open. I think it really helped that Jackson didn't have a good game. I was most concerned about him in there because he can make the play and score. And when guys miss a couple foul line jump shots, everybody thinks that's where you should go, and that's the shot. It's a hard shot. There aren't that many guys that turn and make that shot. In my 42 years, teams in that high post are shooting 22%. No, I don't. But they don't shoot well there. But I was really concerned about him. We were concerned about the boards. They're physical, they're strong, they've got guys running at it. We've got to somehow find a way to sneak some out, and the game would have been lost on the boards if it came down to that. They got second chance points in the paint there, 21. That's a lot. But we kept them off their spots, and our problem was at the halftime was offense. That was our problem. Should have been tied at the half, and we did nothing on offense. Tyus had 1 point. Frank had a couple. They've struggled the last 2 games, and we were able to win. I told them at halftime, we can't win without you 2 guys. You've got to go. And Tyus, you've got to go. And Frank made a couple really tough shots when they were in those runs there. And then Tyus started well, and then he finished. We try to go to him at the end of the game with the lead. I thought he was going to make the 3, but then he makes the pull-up to give us separation. And so we couldn't hang on the ball down there twice. We just turned. They had to foul. We just had to hang on to the ball. So we made the end of the game more interesting. We're always going to foul in those situations, and it's always worked for us. I've seen too many games where a guy throws in a 3 and you go into overtime. So players they deserve a lot of credit. Michigan State's a really, really good team. I think one thing that happens, it happened one year to us. The home court is a great thing, the advantage, but when you're in a close game at the end, you feel like, we're home, we need to win this game. You start to feel that a little bit. And the last couple jump shots they threw up weren't they were in the ballpark. And Bridges is a great player, but we wanted to make him shoot on the outside.
Sounds good. Applying for Sports Illustrated.
Hold on. I've got some people on deadline up here, so let me.
Coach, Ryan Schuling, the Team 92.1 FM in Lansing. You mentioned the 5 days, the 3 games in them, depth being a concern against a team like Michigan State. How do you come into this third and final game with rotations and minutes?
Depths don't. Well, we don't have rotations in minutes. It's easy to coach. I don't put anybody in. So, it's not like I'm thinking over there, I got to get this guy in or I got to get that guy in. I just worry about our offense and our defense. We make desperation subbing. When Pascal gets in foul trouble, Barama goes in. When one of our forwards gets in trouble, Matt goes in. The guards don't come out. I get mad at them. I'm upset with them, but they're not coming out. But we're pretty resilient. We're in good condition. Everybody says pick up the pace, run. You can't run. If you run, we're gonna beat you bad, because we're gonna get back and get set. You're running, and taking a quick shot. That's gonna help us. You play against a team that gets their defense set. They made 2 or 3 shots at the end of the shot clock. Shots we want. The first shot of the second half, we wanted him to take that shot. He's 6 feet out. Shot clock's going, and he makes it. And then they bank one. These guys just keep playing. They don't worry about that. They just don't worry about that. They just keep playing, and we want to control it. We would like to run, but we don't ever get a rebound really to run off of. I think we got 1 fast break, and I think we might have scored. I'm not even sure now, but we're not getting fast breaks. It's just not. And we can't exert energy running up and down the court. We need to save our energy, and in the half-court set, our guards work pretty hard. Our other guys are not doing a lot. They're setting screens and rolling. They're not doing a lot. But, O'Shea's been really good in this tournament. He's just a freshman, but he doesn't play like a freshman. He makes big plays. He's going against a great defensive player. He made great plays. Our guards have not played well on offense, and we need them moving forward. We've got to get them to play better offensively. There's some teams you can't stop, and you get in those situations in this tournament where you have to score. And today we got away with it, but that won't happen again.
We're running into a bit of a time crunch here, so we'll take this final question up front, and then the locker room will still be open.
Why is it so short here?
Jim, how did things change offensively when...
We win. I don't mind talking.
Sure, you're in a good mood.
Really.
Jim, when Frank fouls out, how do things change? You have to simplify the offense
Yeah,
a bit,
we just gave the ball to Tyus and opened it up. That's it.
So just Tyus
That's
going?
it. It doesn't really change. It really doesn't hurt our offense. For a short period of time, it might help our offense. He's our best player. He's got the ball. So it hurts us on the defensive end a little bit, but Braden's a tough kid. He did a good job out there. He was really good. I liked what he did.
All right, folks, thank you very much.
I don't know why it's so short.
I don't know. They told us to cut it down to 12 minutes. I have no idea. I know. I apologize. Just a reminder, folks, please ask for the mic and identify yourself when asking questions. And please wait for us to acknowledge you so that we can make sure that the mic gets on. Coach will open with an opening statement from you.
Yeah, I just first like to thank our fans. It was an incredible showing on their support. Little Caesars was a great place to be, and I want to thank my team for, you know, we said we didn't want to make effort-related things and mistakes, and when you out-rebound a team by 21, that's average height is 6'9", and you got just about every loose ball we could get. And we got beat because we couldn't make a shot, and I thought we had some good shots. I was really disappointed we didn't shoot very well from the free throw line. And some of those ones early were front ends of a 1-and-1, which means it's a lot worse than the stat shows. But you got to give Syracuse a lot of credit. They played hard also, and I thought it was just a war of a game, and they made a few more shots than we did, although neither team shot very well from the 2 or the 3, but they made shots at the free throw line and we didn't, and that was the difference in the game. So sad when, you know, you're in a locker room with, you know, some of those guys that don't get another chance, but there's nothing that I can say that they didn't do. They played every bit as hard. Jim did a hell of a job coaching his team, and I know he was upset with some things, and so was I. But both teams played their hearts out, and they just made one more basket than we did.
We're going to open it to questions for the players. We'll start up here with Larry.
Larry Lage, Associated Press. Miles, can you just share your emotions, what's kind of going through your mind right now?
It's probably the saddest I've ever been in my life. I wanted to send my best friend Tum Tum out the right way, and our seniors, Ben Carter and Gavin Schilling. And unfortunately, I couldn't do that. That was my only goal for this year, and I'm sad I couldn't do it, but life goes on, and yeah, I don't know, just life goes on.
Cassius, what are you going to take away from this season?
Almost anything can be solved or fixed through hard work. You know, if you dedicate your time, put the hours in, you know, results will show. This team, you know, we got better throughout the year. You know, we just got better and better, and it was no secret formula. Players got better, you know. Xavier Tillman, he got better throughout the year, and there was no secret to it. You know, it's just he worked hard. So, you know, this summer, you know, it's another step for me to take. You know, it's a whole nother level that I could reach, and it's the recipe is just gonna be me, you know, putting that time in and working on it.
Other questions for the players? Here, Larry.
Can you just talk about the unique challenge their zone presents, despite, you know, your preparation?
It kind of forces you to take, you know, some 2-pointers. We don't, you know, you can't really punch inside, you know, like we couldn't really get Nick Ward as involved just because how they played the zone. So that would be the only challenge, you know. Other than that, I think we got some great looks, you know, some shots that we usually knock down, and, you know, the ball definitely wasn't falling tonight.
Yeah, I just felt like we missed shots. We got the shots that we wanted. We just couldn't get inside as much as we wanted to because the zone was so long, but we just missed shots.
Miles, it might be a little bit more difficult to say about it now, but when you do look back on what you have accomplished at Michigan State with this team this year as conference champions, what are going to be the bullet point takeaways, the things you'll remember most about this season?
Just how much fun we had with everything that was thrown at us. We still had fun, and I love every guy that's on my team. That's why I'm so hurt right now. I couldn't ask for a better team, and I'll have memories that last a lifetime.
Any further questions for the players? All right, we're going to let them head back to the locker room. Gentlemen, congrats on a great season. We'll open the floor to questions for Coach.
Tom, you went big with your big lineup when Jaren got in foul trouble, and you out-rebounded him. Was it as effective as you wanted it to be, or were there issues there
My
too?
part was better than I wanted it to be. I thought, our guards rebounded well, our forwards rebounded well. Xavier Tillman was a man in there, but, Josh Langford got a bunch. Jaren got a bunch in his time in there. Miles got a few. The problem is we had a lot of rebounds to get, although so did they. You don't want to have regrets in games like this, and the effort we gave, I have no regrets. I just wish we would have shot it a little better.
Coach, following up.
It's for Jaren. Was there any particular reason he didn't play more?
Well, he was in foul trouble the first half, and it's different in the tournament. And the second half, Ben seemed to have a feel in there, which we knew he did, but it really was in the defensive end. Cassius did a hell of a job. There's nobody badgered him harder for 2 years than me, but defensively, he grew so much this year, and he did an unbelievable job on Howard. I thought Howard's a hell of a player, so is Battle. But we did it because we got some help from our bigs, and Xavier was really good at it. And then we were moving Nick, and in all honesty, we put Ben in there because he had such a feel. He got some kickouts. We had some wide open looks. Really good looks, and it just didn't happen.
Ryan Schuling, the T92.1 FM in Lansing. Following up on that point, Coach, Ben's such a good high post passer, and it seemed like that point of attack against the zone was the most important thing, getting it to the high post. Looking back on what you had to face against the Syracuse zone, is there something that stands out that you didn't see coming in?
Really didn't. I thought we'd have a little easier time getting it in the middle, but at the same time, we showed patience. We turned it over a little bit at the end, but 14 turnovers against them is not ridiculous. I didn't think that they did anything different than we thought. I just felt like maybe we didn't appreciate. We took some shots inside when we got rebounds, and that length of 6'7" and 6'11" and 6'10", those became bad shots. Those should have been kickouts, but it was probably hard for Nick. Nick played pretty well too, but he's just not the kind of guy that kicks it out, and he's trying to put it up, and their length when you're underneath the basket bothered us. So maybe that would be one thing.
Cody Tucker, Lansing State Journal. Tum's meant so much to this program. Can you talk about what you're going to miss most about him and then the other seniors as well?
I felt sad that I didn't get Schilling in. And Ben played a little more, hasn't been playing much, but I didn't get Tum many minutes. It was just a game. I talked to him about it before. It was just a situation, and I think Miles said it best in the locker room. So did Dane Fife. That kid has meant the world to our program, our community, our team, and me. And I don't know if there's another Tum out there. I just hope I can keep him around for a while. But I'll figure that out in the future. He's meant the world to our entire community. He's been rock solid through a lot of things this year, and I love him for that. As I do, it's hard not to feel bad. I know why Miles came back, but he has no regrets why he came back, because in his mind he got to do the things he wanted to do when he came back, except maybe get to a Final Four. And you don't get all your dreams sometimes, but Cassius has gotten a lot better because of Tum. Miles is better because of Tum. Josh is better because of Tum. Nick Ward has really made some strides in the last 4 weeks, a lot because of Tum. Tum's not God, but he's he's right there.
Tom, clearly disappointed with the loss, but this is one of the best group of young men you've ever coached in your entire career. Can you put into perspective what this team will always be in your memory?
Well, as everybody knows, it's been a different year. I don't think, me personally, I could have gone through the year without a group like I had. In fact, I know there would be no way. And, you know, I've had couple disappointments with some pretty good teams, and that's the way basketball goes. And I think Tom said it best to our team, you know, that hold your head up high. Don't let one game, we're 30-5, define who we are. Let the times when we went through some tough times define who we are, the way we stuck together and hung together and battled together. And there's no reason to hang your head, as he said. Nobody's got cancer. There's a lot worse things in the world. It just never seems like that when you coach and when you play, especially when you're a senior. The rest of us all get different chances, but they don't. And I love the kid, but I could look everybody in the eye and say I love every one of these kids, and that's coach speak. I don't give coach speak very often. I give heart speak. And from the bottom of my heart, that's the way I feel about them. Another question, quickly.
Larry? And this will be the last one because we're running out of time here.
When you see Ben Carter and Xavier Tillman out there in a million years, did you think those two would be in a clutch NCAA tournament?
Well, not in clutch, but they played pretty well. But it wasn't that Jaron didn't. He just, you know, sometimes the youth, we did some different things defensively than we've been doing. That worked. I mean, we didn't jump those ball screens and stay up high on them. We kind of feathered them and made sure that, for the most part, Battle didn't get to the rim. And, you know, I thought we did a very good job on Battle and didn't give up the threes. We ran them off the threes because we were helping with our bigs. And it was a little bit of an adjustment for a couple of the bigs. And so we found some guys. And then in the middle of that zone, Jaron's going to be really good in there. And right now, Ben just had the experience to know what to do. And, man, we got some good looks. I don't know how many assists he had. Probably not many because nobody made any shots. 2. But we had good enough shots. So, listen, it never ends happy for all but one team. I've been in the finals, got beat and felt bad. I've been in the first round of the Final Four and got beat and felt bad. And been in the Elite Eight and got beat and felt bad in the Sweet 16. And a couple years ago, I was in the first round and felt bad. That's never going to change. But it's not going to define who we are. What's going to define who we are is what these kids went through this year and how they handled it. That's what's going to define them to me, and I'm the only one that matters in the end. Because I saw the facts of what they gave me, and I had great appreciation for the facts of what they went through and how they handled it. And every Michigan State person can be a little upset with me, but don't be upset with them, because they did their job in a very difficult time and did it with class and humility. And you will never, whether you're a reporter following them or a fan cheering for them, you will never have better kids to appreciate than this group. So I appreciate all of you. I'm sorry to our fans who did such an incredible job here this weekend. It was all set to maybe get another shot at Duke, and yet Jim Boeheim and his team deserves all the credit in the world. They did their job. They did it in a hostile environment. They played very solid. They played their style. They did not change. They just made a couple more free throws than we did, and that was the difference of the game. So